Greetings, everyone. Eric Brown, MOBO-Media, MOBO-Media. Hey, I thought I'd get on here and talk about sacrifice. In particular, sacrifice from folks that, serve in the military, particularly for long periods, well, for any amount of time. There are sacrifices, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, with military service, you have to leave home. I left home at a very early age. I think I left 18 years old, something like that. So one of the first sacrifices that you encounter is you're not around family when important events take place, like Christmas and some of the holidays, things like that, because military dictates everything. I mean, military comes first. So there's a lot of sacrifices over the years, not being a part of some of the events. Obviously, I tried to make it to as many as I could. I was welcomed with loving arms from my family, who was glad to see me. But it became, as I got older in the ranks and my military career, it became less and less as far as the time I would spend at home, because obviously you get more rank, you got more responsibility, so there's really no time for all the family visits you have when you're a young airman, and a lot of sacrifices though, because you're away from home, from people and from family and from a lot of important events that take place, graduations, births, deaths, reunions, Easters, like I say, the holidays. There's a lot of sacrifices for military members, man. And it's something that I've never really talked about it, but I talk about it in private to people that I know about what some of those sacrifices are. And I tell you, one of the biggest sacrifices, I think, and one that really eats away at me, is the fact that, I'm a huge proponent of the child. I'm a huge supporter of children and all things children. And so even within my family, when I was young, I tried to do things with the children, whether taking the Six Flags or taking the water parks, taking the pizza places, and just always get them together to show them something different that they probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to experience, because I'm the type of person, if I'm able, I will, you know what I'm saying? But over the years, man, the thing that eats away at me is the fact that I come home now and I don't know some of the kids. I literally don't know some of my family members. I don't know some of the kids. There's so many of them. Life didn't stop when I left. Life kept going, and I had to keep doing my thing out there. Obviously I had to stay focused, and my family wanted me to stay focused, and they supported me like hell. But when I would come back home, a lot of times they didn't understand a lot of the guilt that I felt inside about not knowing some of the names of the children that come around, and names that you would normally know if you hadn't left home. You know what I'm saying? Nieces, nephews, cousins, man, it's the craziest thing, man. It's a horrible feeling. But over the years, I've come to grips with it. But that is some of the sacrifice you make when you raise your right hand and say, I will. And I served 22 years, and then lived in 3 different countries. So obviously I was away from home for quite a long time, My first stint away from home was actually 2.5 years from the Philippines, 2.5 years. And even after that time period, man, everything had changed so much, man. And I even felt a change in myself. I felt a lot of clarity in myself, because obviously, when in the Air Force, there's not a lot of, bad eating and, illicit things around you, all this bad alcohol, different things, some of the drugs, all that stuff is not there. And so you have a lot of clarity about you. And so that's one thing I really, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But the sacrifices are real. And like I said, the further and further I got along in my career, the more and more I felt bad. Man, I don't even know who the kids are. I don't even know what to call them, the names, and it's embarrassing. You say, hey, come here. You don't even know the name. You're embarrassed to even ask the name, because you're thinking, damn, I'm a family member. I should know the name. But in my heart, I know my family understands, because I just wasn't around. I mean, I've got a big family, you know what I'm saying? But I say this for all military members, that, we make that sacrifice. And it's one that, I make all day long, because it's for the benefit of not just me, and for my people. But a lot of sacrifices you make, military service. Some of the other sacrifices you make military service, you sacrifice things like going to events, community events, where your network should be sustained or maintained. And one that comes to mind is school reunions. school reunions. You know, for the folks that never left Fort Worth, or the folks that kind of hung a little closer to Fort Worth, you know, they stayed in the know, and you know, they understand what people were and yada yada yada. Man, I was totally disconnected. I'm talking totally disconnected. And it wasn't by choice. It was by the Air Force saying, hey, you need to focus on us first. So outside of focusing on the Air Force, what other little time I had to focus on my family, you know what I'm saying, my immediate family, and spend as much time as I could with them. But it really hurt me that I hadn't kept up with friends and you know, high school classmates, and hadn't gone to the reunions. You know, I don't even know who passed away. I don't know who did this, who else went to the military. I don't know what, you know. All I know is that, you know, I've lived a good life. I stayed focused throughout my career. It's been a successful one, and there have been sacrifices. That's all I know. And that's probably my only regret, is just not, you know, being close enough to family here in Fort Worth and the people I love, and seeing the different changes within their lives. But all the knowing, you know, like I said, I keep telling myself that although I didn't see the changes in their lives, a lot of them saw the changes in mine, and I hope to bring some of that back to them and let them know I didn't just leave Fort Worth and learn something to stay out there. I learned it to bring it back home, and so that's what I plan on doing with MOBO-Media. So look forward to some great things from this channel. A lot of sacrifices, but now it's time to you know, dust off my boots and, you know, wipe the tears away and get back at it, and give the people what they want. You know what I'm saying? I know what they want. I've been doing it for a while. It's just that I've been doing it for somebody else. Now it's time for me to do it for myself. So a lot of sacrifices. A lot of sacrifices are going to be made with this channel. You know, you'll see people come and you'll see people go, because we're going to have a team of MOBO-Media. So there are going to be a lot of sacrifices. And I'm going to talk to those folks about some of the sacrifices they're going to have to make. They're going to have to make some changes to their lifestyles, make some changes to kind of the way they walk, the way they carry themselves, you know what I'm saying? Because with this channel, I don't want this channel to be something that just everybody just views. I want this channel to be an experience that you feel. That's what's most important to me. That you walk away after a video feeling a certain kind of way. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean bad. So look for some great things in MOBO-Media. Like I say, sacrifices, nothing wrong with them. Just as long as you make sacrifices for the right reason. Hey, with that, this is Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. I give y'all the Air Force salute. Y'all subscribe. Please, please, please rock with me. Rock with me. Man, this is getting fun to me. The more and more I do these, it's getting fun. So I really want to share a lot of crazy stories, a lot of perspectives, a lot of analogies, a lot of travel stuff. I just want to share it. And so, but for me to know that y'all are liking it, y'all gonna have to subscribe and like it. So with that, y'all take care. Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. I'm out. Bye-bye.